You're listening to Saturday Morning Media. And now, back to our show. Here we go. Well, hello there, friends, and welcome back to episode number 234 of the Grantcast. I guess I'm not welcoming you back to that episode. I'm welcoming you to episode 234. It's a pleasure to have you here. My name is Grant Baciocco, and the Grantcast is the podcast where I just ramble about stuff that really is of no importance to anybody, but I feel as a podcaster, I must podcast, and therefore I am podcasting. Hello, welcome. Trying to get back on schedule. I actually have a ton of topics, and my goal is, I'm recording this on June 11th, 2024. You will probably hear it sometime after that. That's when it'll be publicly released, unless you are a Patreon patron, in which case you'll hear it very soon. Anyway, this is the podcast where I just talk about random things, and I'm trying to get back on schedule, and I have a huge list of topics, but I am going to go back all the way to almost a month ago, May 20th, 2024. That was the day, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, where your narrator turned 50 years old. That's right. Thank you. I turned 50 years old, May 20th, 2024. And the first thing I did was immediately go outside and complain about the way people were parked in front of the house, because I feel as a 50-year-old that is something I can do now. And of course, not complain to the people parking in front of the house, complain to myself. There you go. But anyway, yeah, it's 50th birthday. Here's the thing. If you really want to make an enemy of me, if you really want to just have me not like you for the rest of both of our lives, whichever should happen first, sing happy birthday to me, because I don't like it. And I don't like surprise parties. I don't like any sort of situation where you are seated and you have to awkwardly just sit there as people start braying happy birthday at you. So we'll say that. So when it came to my 50th birthday, did I have some sort of big party? Did I have some sort of big shindig? No, I did not. I did not have any of those kind of things, because I do not like those kind of things. But I was asked by my wife, what would you like to do on your birthday? And I really had two things. I wanted to get some good food. And for a long time, I've wanted to go to the Container Store. And if that's not what you do when you're 50 years old thing, I don't know what it is. If you don't know what the Container Store is, you gotta find this magical place. They are a chain. They have places all over the country, and it's just a wonderful place. It's just a magical, wonderful place. It is a place where they have every sort of storage container you could ever imagine in your entire life. They've got big plastic tubs. They've got small little plastic tubs. They've got waste paper baskets. They've got anything you could put something inside. Vitamin containers. They have everything, okay? And the Container Store is an amazing place, and I have wanted to go for a long time. Now, the problem is, with the Container Store, there is not a Container Store that is close nearby where we live here in Burbank, California. I think geographically, probably the closest one is Pasadena, which is at least 20 minutes. So it's not just something like, hey, I'm going to pop down to the Container Store. It's like, all right, listen, I got to plan an hour or more to drive out to the Container Store, get my stuff, and drive back from the Container Store. And with LA, traffic is always a wonder. So I said I would love to do those two things. Now, one of my favorite restaurants, it is no secret that I enjoy the barbecue. And one of my absolute favorite barbecue restaurants is Slab. And I probably have talked about this on here before, but just very briefly, Slab started as a guy cooking barbecue in his backyard and just selling it, just posting on Instagram when he was making some. And then you would go to his backyard and you couldn't pay him for it. He would give you some barbecue, and you would just accidentally drop some money on the ground. And if he found it, which he always did. But what I'm saying is that's how Slab started. But then he got a brick and mortar store. And so we would go to the brick and mortar store, and the brick and mortar store was down in Hollywood. Then he said, I'm going to open a new Slab in Pasadena. See how this story is all coming together? Because there's a Container Store, there's the Slab in Pasadena. So that morning, I looked up what the hours for Slab were to plan the day, when I'm going to go out there. And the Yelp section for Slab in Pasadena said permanently closed. And I said, what? Because this place just opened. This place, I mean, it was probably 2023, but it was probably summer of 2023. And it said permanently closed. So then I went to Slab's website because I was like, something's very strange about this. And on Slab's website, it said that the original Hollywood location was closed, and that the only location that is still open is there's sort of this it's brand new. What's it called? It's like Topanga Eats or something like that. It is a food court in a very, very fancy mall, but it is a very, very fancy food court. There is absolutely no chain restaurant in these, like a chain, a nationwide chain, or even a regional chain in this food court. This food court is super high-end, legitimate businesses like Slab. So Slab, this barbecue place, has a spot in this food court. There's also a restaurant called Fat Sal's, and I think Fat Sal's has, I don't know, maybe 10 locations, but Fat Sal's is also in this place as well. So it's like, I forget the name of it, but it's Topanga something. So that's the only version of Slab that's open. All the rest are permanently closed. I don't know what happened. I feel bad that they're all permanently closed, but that's what's going on. The other problem is Topanga is 20 minutes the other way from Burbank. So my wife said, well, we can go both. We can, go do both. And I immediately said, to drive 20 minutes one way to get lunch, and then 40 minutes in the other direction, passing the house to go to the Container Store, that is a waste of gas. And I am now officially 50 years old because I have said that is a waste of gas. So I was just like, listen, we'll just go somewhere else to eat. I'd rather go to the Container Store was more important because I've wanted to go for so long. So my wife looks on her phone and she finds out that there is a Container Store that is only 10 minutes away from where the new Slab was. So the day is saved. We got to go to Slab. We got to go to the Container Store. Now, here's the other weird thing is the restaurants in the food court do not open until noon. Now, this was a Monday that we were out there, so maybe that's only on Mondays. But I guess they're such high-end restaurants, they don't open until noon, and many of them don't open until 4. So it is quite a journey, and it was quite fun, and it was a great birthday. I had a great time. I got a lot of fun things for my birthday. Probably the big deal of which is I got a Super 8 camera, a vintage Super 8 camera, and I have been having a lot of fun filming things on that. I have nothing developed yet, so it'll be interesting to see how everything turns out. But that was probably my big gift that I got, and super fun to play. I want to shoot puppets with a Super 8 camera, which is an insane thing to try to do, but I want to do it. So that's why I was very excited to get it. And that's it. I am 50 years old, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. It's all downhill from here. I think that's going to wrap up this episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Very much appreciate it. And a special shout out to all of our Patreon patrons who get to hear this episode the moment it is edited and released to them. And then it'll be released later to you, the general public. But that's it. We'll be back soon with another episode of the Grantcast. Thank you so much for listening. This episode of the Grantcast was edited by Steven Staver and made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons who've gone to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up a pledge for as little as $1 a month. Patrons at the behind-the-scenes level and above get access to a video recording of this show. Big shout out to all of our patrons, and a special shout out to our patron producers, Eve Cunning, Kathy Crawford, Tony Urbano, Brandy, David Akers, Paul, Scott Armstrong, Vicky Sebring, Ricky Chavez, and Karina. If you'd like to become a patron and receive episodes of the Grantcast before they are released, visit patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up your monthly pledge today. And thank you for your support. This episode of the Grantcast is copyright 2024 Saturday Morning Media Grant Baciocco, executive producer, all rights reserved. www.saturdaymorningmedia.com. You've been listening to Saturday Morning Media. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.